Good morning. All right, let's take a look at Friday's charts. I've been doing my review of the charts in the mornings, just a quick review to look through and make sure that I'm not missing anything, or make sure the trades that I took were actually decent trades. So with the ES, we have a downtrend here that has to close outside a new low. It's perfect price action. Uptrend gets to close outside a new high. Two larger legs up, you get a spike down. And then prices just start moving higher, so you don't get to break a new low for this downtrend, but I think it's because this is just overall. Well, I was going to say it's overall a range day, but I don't know if that's necessarily true. Anyways, uptrend gets to close outside a new high. Don't really see any places where I would like to enter. I'll go over the overall chart first. So uptrend close outside new high, downtrend break new low, great. Uptrend break new high, downtrend break new low. It's all very perfect there. Now let's look at any trades I possibly could have taken. If there was a good signal bar here, then that's a possibility, but there's not. You get a first entry, you get a second entry here, but it's above the EMA and it's still within that downtrend, and this downtrend has played out, so you don't want to take that. If there's a lower high, maybe, but I'm not really dying to take that. Yep, nothing that I see on ES that I would have liked to have taken. So let's go ahead and wipe that chart and move on to the next. Actually, I'll go ahead and take this over to today's. Now on to the NQ. We have a downtrend here with a close outside and two legs, two new low, two legs up. You get another little spike down, so very similar to the ES. This one creates a little triple test with the lows, and then you get this uptrend, close outside, new high. Great. Downtrend gets two legs up that plays out there, and then moves to break a new low there. It looks like that this ends up being a larger trend like this that gets a close outside and a new low, and that plays out perfectly. It's basically two legs down. Let's take a look. Nothing there, nothing there, nothing there, nothing up through here. Nothing there. I was thinking at the time that I should have taken this trade. I think the signal bar was a little bit better whenever I was trading during the day, and I just completely missed this because I wasn't paying attention. But it's pretty clear because this downtrend needs to break a new low. The short-term uptrend has to close outside new high, and then you got a lower high through the EMA. I think that the signal bar was still not great whenever I was trading in real time, but I think it was a little bit better. And I think that at the time, that this was a trade worth taking, and I just completely missed it because, I mean, look at that, it just takes off. So there's that one that I missed on NQ, so that sucks. And let's pull this over to today. Now let's look at RTY. I did take a trade on this chart right at the end of the day. Downtrend, close outside, new low. Perfect. You get a little spike up, spike down, getting this like range type of action. Uptrend, break new high, two legs down, spike up, and then we go into downtrend, break new low. Sometimes like we don't just reverse on a dime. So you can see like after this downtrend played out here with a close outside and new low, we don't just like straight up reverse. You can see prices tried to go lower again and like reinstate the downtrend, and they failed before we get the reversal. So again, here we had this uptrend, we got two legs down, we try and restate the uptrend, it can't work, and then we go down. So that sometimes happens. And let's look at any trades here. Downtrend, expecting new low. So looking for some shorts there, nothing. We have to break a new low, so we don't want to take anything. Uptrend, expecting new high, nothing on the upside. Two legs down, nothing there, nothing there. The only trade that I see is the one that I took. So first entry, second entry, and then I took this lower high. So that looks really good. I think you could also count this all as one sort of congestive low and just say that this is a first entry and a second entry right there. And that was a great trade. And I could have definitely kept a runner on this one. So let's see. If I did keep a runner, I mean, you know, possibly could have gotten 700-ish out of a runner, but I doubt I would have. I probably would have taken it somewhere in this area, probably. So 300-ish, which is great. That would have been awesome. So now we're back to here. Let's check out GC. I believe this chart was pretty confusing while I was trading it. It usually is kind of confusing. I think I was trying to make sense of like, well, what had happened kind of in the overnight, and I couldn't. And so I ended up just kind of looking at it like this and just saying, okay, well, I'm just going to play it from here, where it kind of makes sense. Downtrend, break, new low, great. Uptrend, close outside, new high, great. And then I think I was trying to play this downtrend, but obviously that got an overshoot and did not end up being correct. So I think it ended up being probably starting here. You could say that's maybe a close outside new low right there. Yeah, maybe. Let's see. So any trades here? Have this downtrend, nothing there. 2 legs back. If you got a higher low, that would have been good, but no higher low. And I don't see anything to the short side here either. So nothing that I would have wanted to take on GC. Let's go ahead and go to today. And finally, let's look at the YM chart from Friday, see if there are any trades that I missed here. Downtrend, you got to close outside new low, 2 legs to new low. Uptrend, close outside new high. Pretty clear, kind of 2 legs there. The second leg is pretty strong. Downtrend, breaking new low, uptrend, breaking new high. Great, great, great. We do kind of like a weird leg up here, but I guess it could have an overshoot. Does that make sense? As far as trades that I would have wanted to have taken, nothing there, nothing there, nothing to the upside. If you got a higher low around here, that would have been good, but no higher low. And I wouldn't have wanted to take this failure because you do have a new low, first entry, second entry failure. And maybe you could say you take that, but look at this, we're finding a bunch of resistance there, so I don't want to take that. Downtrend, break new low, uptrend, break new high. So nothing I would have wanted to take on YM. So there's really just one trade that I missed on Friday. So I took one that I think is pretty solid, and I missed one on the incur. Now let's go over to today and let's see what's up. So this is the ES chart. It's the new low for the downtrend, but I think you could also, no, I was gonna say you might be able to draw a wider trend, but I think that this is just a close outside new low, at least for the time being. I'm gonna be right back because I have a stuffy nose. I need to get something to blow my nose. All right, so this is what I'm seeing on the ES so far. Looks like everything's played out. There is a potential for maybe some sort of large downtrend, but at this point I'm not willing to draw that. Let's check out the incur. I don't think it really matters to draw that. Downtrend, close outside, new low. Looks like 2 legs down with, similar to the ES, possibility of a larger downtrend that I'm not willing to draw quite yet. RTY looks like a range. Attempted a new high. Yeah, just range on RTY. GC, always a bunch of overnight movement. Always. I wonder why there's so much overnight movement in GC. Uptrend gets a break a new high. Perfect. Downtrend. Probably like something like that with an overshoot. And a new low. And then we get a new high. And we start ranging. So not much there. YM. Uptrend, new high. Slight range. Looks like we might even have a slight overshoot here. 2 legs up. Oops. 2 legs up there, and a new low on the larger downtrend. So very similar to the ES and the NQ and the RTY, to be honest, which is pretty typical, I think, for the ES, the NQ, and the RTY. Sometimes YM to look pretty similar. Now, as far as what trades am I looking for right now? Let's see. I think we can draw this range here too. So I'm hesitant to look for any shorts on the ES. I think that there is probably a slight short bias because prices were working down, and then this uptrend right here, which is the correction uptrend, has already played out. So there is, I think, a slight short bias, but I'm not married to that. You do have, again, this uptrend has played out. And you might want to say, okay, maybe you can take this possible lower high. But the thing is that the EMA is like not holding here. So with this downtrend already having a close outside a new low, and the EMA looking so flat and prices looking so choppy, I don't think that I would want to take any shorts, at least at this time. I'm going to wait until there's something a little bit more clear. But I can see how someone might say, well, you can take that lower high after this uptrend has played out and there's a lower high, looking for continuation of the downtrend. But I think that it's better to wait on a little bit more certainty. I think this also could end up just being a range. Had to sneeze there. In Q, it's the same as the ES. So this uptrend is played out, and there's a lower high. I gotta sneeze again. We're starting to get some pollen around here, and so my allergies are really kicking up. So again, this downtrend has already played out, so I'm hesitant to look for any shorts. This uptrend, which is the correction uptrend, and not necessarily the correction one, but what I'm expecting to be like maybe a reversal, is actually sticking below the EMA. And it's already played out. So uptrend played out, and then you get a lower high through the EMA. So I would be more tempted to take maybe this lower high than I would on the ES, mainly because the EMA is holding on the NQ, so the EMA is holding here. But it still wasn't, a very, very strong downtrend. It looks like a pretty clear 2 legs down. So I'm still not, like dying to take that. If you did get a failed second entry and prices are coming off the EMA again, then maybe I'd be willing to take that. RTY, uptrend and break new high. Nothing really, just a range. Nothing I'm looking for there. Same with the GC. We're just in a range now. I'm waiting for some sort of clear trend. YM is very similar to the ES and the NQ. The downtrend's already played out, so I'm not really looking for any shorts. This uptrend has played out, but I'm waiting for some other kind of probably confirmed downtrend before I look to take a short again. But I will watch the NQ. I think there's a possibility for a trade there. And if you're not familiar with the notation, typically whenever I put a green arrow, it's a trade that I wouldn't personally want to take. I think it's a little bit too aggressive for myself, but I could see how someone might like it. Not saying that this is a good trade to take. I'm just saying that I can see some value in that, and it's not something that I would personally want to take. If I put a if I put a red or a blue arrow, that's something that I either took or I wish that I had taken, that I missed, or that I incorrectly viewed at the time. And that I think is a very good trade. So that's the blues and the reds. Greens, again, are just kind of more aggressive to me and something that I probably wouldn't want to take. In this case, I think it's a very tempting trade after the two legs up and you get the lower high below the EMA. But it's kind of stacked sideways. This downtrend already has a close outside new low. It just doesn't look like extremely strong to me. So I'm not willing to do that, but I would maybe be willing to take a failed second entry long. We're just a few minutes away from the open here. prices really start continuing down, then I'll start looking at a wider trend, but that skips a lot of price action. So it would probably more likely be something like this if there is one, like a spike in channel. That's only if prices really continue down though. Whereas on the NQ, you could definitely draw a downtrend like this, or you could draw one like this. Either way. All right, so we are really continuing down on the NQ. Still a possible range on the ES. Let's go ahead and see if this trend on the NQ ends up being correct. I think I'm gonna have to make this a little bit tighter. Something like this downtrend is incorrect. Assuming something like this would also be incorrect. You could get some sort of short on GC, potentially. And potentially a long on YM. The range looks like it's probably correct on ES. But we are continuing down on the NQ, which is interesting. And let's go ahead and widen this trend out a little bit. Looks like prices are rejecting off there. So here we have a first entry, potential for a second entry, but this short-term uptrend doesn't even have an attempt at a new high. So again, well, it's not going to be a second entry right there anyway, but you do have a first entry now. If prices do come up and create a second entry short off the EMA with a nice signal bar, looking for the break a new low, there's a good chance that I will be willing to take that. YM, not so much. Just spiking right back down. First entry, potential second entry long, but we're still within that short-term downtrend correction, so don't want to do that. NQ, definitely would be interested in taking some shorts if you get a good short setup off the EMA or this trend line, or both. GC is looking actually decently close, so let's go ahead and start measuring this right here. So 1.5 is 150. and I want to take roughly $600 scalps. So multiply that by 4 and get my order ready with 4 on the right side here. Doesn't look like it's going to set up though. There's your first entry, break higher, second entry right there. And we get a spike, a strong spike down on YM, so nothing there. Looks like we're just going to head towards the new low. And it looks like it. New low there. Let's get rid of this. Well, I don't know. The range isn't necessarily incorrect. So I think I can leave it, but it's also not very helpful. And let's think about a potential spike in channel. That doesn't look quite right though. Nothing on the incur. Nothing on GC anymore. And we make a very swift reversal on YM. It's definitely possible just to view this as an overshoot. Big up, big down, very range type of action on YM. This range is actually coming into play. I would have expected this downtrend to get a break a new low, but instead it's playing as a failed breakout and prices are coming back within. There's the possibility for a short on incur if you do get a good short setup right here, like a second entry short or high after second entry short or failed second entry long. Then there's a good chance that I'll like that. It's looking to me like this range support on RTY is a bit higher. Could even probably draw like a smaller range here. In fact, I think I'm going to do that. But I'm still going to mark the true overnight low and the true overnight high. Definitely a potential for a second entry short on the NQ. You have a new low here. First entry. Moving higher, if you do get a second entry off the EMA and or the trend line, there's a very high likelihood that I'll be interested in that. And the ATR is 26. And if you go to about 26, it's about 525 per contract for the ATR. So I'll only be using one contract here, assuming I do enter this. And if we do get a good signal bar, then I would definitely like to enter this one. Looks like we're going to get a bullish bar there. So it's just kind of a neutral balance bar. And definitely can't take anything there. This range is basically dismantled at this point. I've had a break out of both sides. You do have a first entry, second entry, and then it looks like this is just going to kind of be a inside bar. If you get a lower high here off the EMA, very high chance that I'll enter that if it's a good signal bar. Potential for a larger uptrend on ES. That's if prices come back and hold that. We have a new high on the correction here. Short-term uptrend gets a break in new high. I'm expecting a break in new low for this downtrend. So if you get a lower high or a failed second entry long through the EMA, then there's a very good chance I'll be willing to take that. We've broken out of the range on RTY. This uptrend has a closeout side and new high. This could technically be a good place to start looking for a lower high or a failed second entry, but I don't take those. Whenever I said I don't take those, I don't mean that I don't take lower highs and failed second entries. I mean that I don't typically take range trades unless they're associated with a trend, because I just am not very good at taking them. And I know my stats, they're not very good. So 2 legs up on the NQ, looking for a lower high or failed second entry. There's nothing really else that I'm interested in. I wouldn't want to take a second entry long here, even though you have this potential uptrend at this point, because it could just be a tighter uptrend with a break in new high. So I'm referring to that there's a short-term downtrend with a closeout side, and even if you move down to the EMA and got a really nice setup right here, I wouldn't want to take that. I need to see this trend hold again before I'm willing to. Continuing to march higher here. Looks like prices came back and they tested the range, so I'm gonna go ahead and start exploring a slightly wider trend here. And this range is probably done for now that it's had the retest. NQ is the one that I'm really watching right now, and I'm watching for a lower high. Broken this uptrend, I'm going to go ahead and ditch it. I think that I like this better as a uptrend with a close outside a new high. If prices do continue higher, then I'll be forced to draw something wider, but I think it's looks better like this. Second entry short here, you wouldn't want to take that though, because this downtrend already has a break a new low. First entry, second entry, don't want to take that. Prices are staying above the EMA on the NQ, so I was, again, looking for a lower high or a failed second entry, and I still am, but it's looking less likely because prices aren't flipping right back below the EMA like I would expect. Ditch this. Uptrend, just treat it as uptrend with close outside a new high. Doesn't look like the uptrend right there is going to hold. You get a double top on GC, basically counts the new high. We might have to, at some point, draw a spiking channel up on the ES. If prices really continue up there, which I don't know if they will. So we do have a lower high here on the NQ, but the thing is it's above the EMA, so I'm looking for a failed second entry long below the EMA with a good signal bar. If you get that, then I'm looking for that to prices to retest this major downtrend. And here we're coming back within this range. So if you do get a short setup, I might be willing to take that actually on the RTY. Mainly, I mean, because there's a trend component to the RTY now. Ditch the spiking channel. Prices are clearly not holding that. I think, you know, if you really wanted to, maybe you could draw this. Say that has to close outside new high, but it's, you know, you can just look at this as two legs up. In Q, looking for that failed second entry long. The reason that I'm willing to potentially take a short on RTY now is because there's this trend component with this downtrend working down, combined with the range breakout. Need to make sure I keep an eye on the NQ. Sometimes I'll be flipping through other charts and I'll forget that there's a possible setup. I think I'd rather just look at this as two legs down, downtrend breaking two legs down. Doesn't look like there's going to be an entry for incur. I think prices are just going to head straight down to this break a new low. So no real chance to get in there. If you do get a second entry short on RTY, very high chance that I'll like that. No new low yet. Okay, so there's a possibility that you get a failed second entry here. This would be a bit weird of a setup because prices have moved so far down. I prefer for price to go first entry and then second entry right below the EMA, as opposed to moving all the way down here. But if you do get a failure, I think there's some merit to it. I might be willing to take that. I'd prefer this bar to end bullish and then have a bearish bar like closer to the EMA, because if this one ends bearish, then you're entering really far from the EMA. All right, maybe not that bullish. I closed up and through the EMA. No longer interested in this one. I was already like a little bit on the fence about it because after this lower high, then you move so far before you even get the failure, but then prices push up and through the EMA this strongly. And after that, I'm definitely not interested in taking that. Got a new low for this downtrend. And it looks like we're just about to head to the new low on this downtrend as well, this major downtrend on the incur. And we got a new low on the RTY. No chances to enter on any of that. There's nothing really to see on YM. I think that it looks range-like. Don't know if that range is correct, but it could be. So decently clear price action on most of the charts, but no entries so far, for me at least. I'm like pretty risk averse, I guess. Like I'm really waiting on what I see as a sure thing and what I've found that works well for me. And that's one benefit to trading so many charts as opposed to just trading the ES is I see a lot more bars. The downside, of course, to that is that there's a lot more to pay attention to, and I think there's a lot more, I think it's a lot more likely that you can make a mistake because you're just not reading something right. But if I stick to kind of the easiest trades, and the easiest ones to me are typically whenever we're within a trend or whenever we're looking for the break into extreme of a trend. Whenever I wait for those scenarios, then I typically do the best. And so by watching so many charts, it makes it a little bit easier to do that, to just wait on the really good ones because I'm seeing a lot more bars. And it doesn't happen all the time. even on all these charts. So like, even though I'm looking at 5 charts, well, I'm not really looking for anything on the YM. At this point, I'm not really looking for anything on the ES because all the trends played out. Same with the NQ, same with R2I. I mean, and basically same with GC. So it's like, I'm not really looking for trades at every single point of the chart. So that's why it makes it so it's manageable to trade 5, I think. At least manageable for me. We could have a wider trend, or this could just be an extended break a new low. Trade it like this for now. So definitely, I mean, I'm really not looking for hardly any trades right now. There's just nothing really. Again, I'm trading the trends mainly, and all the trends have played out. So if you look at the ES, downtrend's played out. NQ, downtrend has played out. R2I, same deal. GC, everything's traded or played out, and YM is just a range. So, I mean, there's just not really much that I'm looking at the moment. Okay, it's looking like there's a wider uptrend here, and we're willing to draw it wider. The reason we're willing to draw it wider here is because everything's played out to the downside. So like if this was just a correction and a downtrend, I would prefer to just keep it short and tight. There's two things going on. First off, the downtrends have already played out, so I'm expecting possibly some kind of reversal. And the second thing, if you keep this uptrend tighter like this, then the second leg is way too big to be just to break a new high of that uptrend. I doubt we're going to get like just a V-shaped reversal on NQ. I'm expecting some sort of sideways action before we reverse. Or like really, really reverse. Trying to see if there's anything else kind of interesting on the chart. YM, this range is probably incorrect, but there's not really a clear uptrend. Maybe you end up having something like this, a really weak one. It's a possibility. Spike in channel. But I'm not going to put a whole bunch of weight behind that. Definitely not if prices do that. Yeah, no. And it doesn't look right to draw something like this because you skip too much price action here. So you can't really draw that. So just stick to tighter trends. So uptrend has a break a new high, price is kind of correct. And then, let's see. Yeah, Don't know. Hard to tell what's going on in YM. Possibility of a larger downtrend. I've already broken out of this range, so chances are it's not really going to come back into play. And we're getting something kind of interesting on GC. Possibility of a wider trend here, which we could potentially play. To be honest, this looks like it's tighter. And you already have a close outside new high there. So uptrend's playing out kind of early. I think that we're definitely could potentially be within a larger range like this. But I'm not positive, so I'm just going to draw it as these lines instead. It doesn't really matter. Just kind of like feels a little different to me. NQ continuing lower. So now that this downtrend's already played out, prices are continuing lower though, and you can see this uptrend turning on a dime. I might still be willing to take some shorts, just looking at the overall bias on NQ. And we have a potential overshoot. So let's go ahead and start viewing this as a larger trend with an overshoot. GC, you have short-term downtrend, gets to close outside in a new low. No good signal bar to take along there, but if you did get a good signal bar, then that's definitely a possibility. Might look for some sort of higher low. Okay. Nope. Definitely don't have a lot of faith in that downtrend, but the thing is, prices are continuing lower. Let's get rid of this. Clearly not a range. Not acting like an overshoot. Still could be, but it's not acting like one because you're not getting the swift reversal on RTY. I need to probably figure out a way to make it so it's easier to tell like what chart is what, because like it does say it. It says it down here, but I don't think that you can see that, or at least that anyone on the stream can see that. You can see it up at the top, but it's like really small. So I need to maybe like put the text on the chart or something. I don't know. It's probably pretty confusing. This is definitely still within the uptrend. Probably still within it. And I don't know if this is correct, but I think that we might be able to view this as an overshoot. I wouldn't really want to play this. This is a really weak, choppy, sideways. If it's a trend at all, it's really weak, choppy, and sideways, so I don't want to play that. right? And we'll want to consider expanding out the downtrend on NQ, because after the break new low, you get one leg up that gets rejected at the EMA pretty strongly, and prices are continuing down. So this could still all be part of the closeout side new low for the NQ, but I at least want to consider the fact that this could be some sort of wider trend like this, and in fact that fits really, really well. So I'm going to start playing this trend. Oops, not what I meant to hit. The reason I like to extend trends like this is because depending on where this endpoint of the trend is, your trend lines might start to move around. So if it's over here and then a bar starts like closing on one of your endpoints, then your trends start shifting around. So I like to have them like this, that way they don't shift around. That's why I do that. It's I don't know, small minor thing. Let's go ahead and make this a little bit steeper. So definitely looking for shorts on the NQ, possibly looking for shorts on the ES. I want to see some sort of larger correction though on the ES. So definitely looking for shorts on the NQ though, like I said. RTY, there's a good chance that I'll look for some shorts as well. We are at this overnight low, so could be kind of a risky spot, but if prices don't really respect the overnight low, then I'm just not really going to pay attention to it. And longs, definitely looking for longs on the GC. So shorts on ES, NQ, RTY, longs on GC, and nothing really on YM. It's just really hard to tell what's going on in YM. I think that, you know, it could be a range, but there's not really clear bounds to the range. It's really hard to tell. I don't like this trend. I think that's probably incorrect. You're not really looking for anything there. Looks like we're gonna head towards the new high on GC. Maybe we just look at this as a range with a failed breakout and a potential downtrend. We haven't hit the new high yet. You might be thinking, okay, why not take any shorts on the ES around this area? Well, we're just too low. It's too low. We're close to the opposite side of the trend here. And if you look at this, like maybe you say like this is 2 legs back, like 2 larger legs back. I don't know. It's too wide. The price already tested that low, so I don't think that's a smart decision. Now we did officially hit that new high there. So we have played out. And there's a, I would say, majority chances that this downtrend is not correct because it's got a lot of sideways action. Of course, if prices did really, like they'd have to really, really drop down pretty strongly. So I'm at least drawing it just in case. Let's go ahead and ditch the overnight low. That's not useful. Don't think we need either one of those. And I think this range from earlier was the one to play. Clearly got a fail breakout, led to a pretty strong downtrend. I do have a little bit of concern for this downtrend, and the main concern is that we skip so much price action throughout here. But the thing is, if you draw the trend tighter like I was initially playing it, like, oh, how did I have it initially? Like this. Then prices are, I mean, they're really just working down a little bit too much for that just to be a break a new low. It's definitely possible. And if we got like a really, really strong reversal, then I would probably change it back to that tighter trend. But if prices do continue lower, then I think that this downtrend is probably right. Yeah, and I figured that downtrend was probably wrong. It probably really just looks like a tighter downtrend. That's the new low. RTY, I like this. Very clear downtrend, short-term uptrend, working higher, and the potential for a second entry short or lower high after a second entry. Yes, short-term uptrend has a closeout side and a new high, so there is the potential to take some shorts here as well. I would really like to see this downtrend get confirmed. All right, now it's getting a little bit more interesting. Everything is working back, so we have a bunch of downtrends, or at least what I think are downtrends. And some potential setups here. So in the ES, I'm looking for a lower high below the EMA. What's the ATR? 3.8. So 3.75. We'll take this with 3 contracts, assuming there's a lower high. And so 3 contracts, and let's see. And this would be 5 contracts. So 3 on the ES, 5 on the RTY, assuming that it sets up. Looking for a lower high on the ES after 2 larger legs up inside of this downtrend. In Q, I would definitely consider taking a second entry, Price is looking pretty sideways though. I don't love that as much as I do the RTY. The RTY looking for a second entry short off the EMA and or the trend line. I would have preferred for prices to push below the EMA before creating a lower high. And that could still be a possibility. All right, RTY. What did I say? Five contracts? Four contracts? No, 5. Potential lower high on ES. And nope, price is just shooting right back up there. So nothing there. The RTY is definitely looking interesting though. Short-term uptrend just had a break and a new high on the RTY. So if you get a good bearish bar below the EMA, we'll be very interested in that. And what is a good bar in this case? Well, it has to at least have a high that's equal to or greater than this bar right here, and it has to end bearish. Doesn't look like that this bar is going to do that. All right, this trend could very well be incorrect on the ES. I would consider a lower high on NQ and a lower high on the RTY. Unfortunately, the second entry short didn't set up quite like I would wanted it to, and I don't take inside bars. I know some people do, so some people would probably really like that one, but I don't take inside bars. You do have a first entry, second entry there. I'm looking for a lower high. Now I'd consider a failed second entry on ES, lower high on NQ, lower high on RTY. It's possible that this is a little bit wider. It's possible that it looks like this. I think that that gets into the territory of trying to overfit the trend though. I want to be careful of that. So I think more than likely that's a break. And I need to make sure that I'm paying attention here. So looking for a failed second entry, looking for a lower high, looking for a lower high or a failed second entry. I said I was looking for a lower high on NQ, but I don't think that I should anymore because we've already reached like the bottom of this little congestive area. It's kind of moved too far, so no lower high on ES. Still would be maybe interested in a failed second entry on, or sorry, I meant NQ. No lower high on NQ. I would still consider a failed second entry on the ES, but the best one, and never mind. The best one was RTY because I was looking for a lower high, and if there's a lower high right here, that would have been golden. That's not what happens though. We got to close outside and a new low for this downtrend. So can't really look for any shorts there. There's a potential that that's not actually a close outside, and it could actually be like this. But at least at this point, it's better to play it safe, in my opinion, and treat that as a close outside until prices prove you otherwise. There's nothing here. That's just a range. And you didn't get a failed second entry on the ES, so nothing to take there. And at this point, you have the close outside new low for that downtrend. Nothing to do there. So unfortunately, some good context areas, but no good trades set up in any of that point or in any of those places. It's looking like there will probably be no trades for me today. Don't see anything that's particularly close to setting up right now, unless the NQ happens to have some sort of 2 legs up or something like that. But other than that, it's not really much, and we're getting close to 10:30, which is whenever I'm gonna hop off. Yeah, I mean, the only chart at this point that might see a possible setup would be the NQ, and I'm kind of doubting that. Yes, downtrend has a close outside new low, and no, we can draw a wider trend in the opposite direction as a potential reversal. Don't know if that's going to end up being correct, but it could be. RTY has a close outside new low, so not looking for any more shorts there. In fact, we can pull that right back there. GC, break a new high, nothing to do there. And YM has just been in this kind of weird range where there's no clear bounds. I mean, the lows are kind of clear, but the highs are kind of odd. I guess there's a potential for a lower high. If a first entry, second entry, if you've got a very strong lower high, maybe. The thing is, prices are just looking really sideways. Not looking very strong. It looks like this trend is about to roll over. Or it could be incorrect. It could be like this, which is how I was initially playing it. So that's also a possibility. Just have to pay close attention to what happens. Like I'd say if we got two clear legs up here and then a push below the EMA, then I think that would still be a pretty solid trade, even if prices don't confirm this downtrend. All right, I think I'm going to go ahead and call it there. That is it for me today. No trades today. Nothing that I think I would have really wanted to take. The closest thing to a good trade would be this one back from early this morning. Yep. I will see you guys tomorrow.